I'm running for council because I've been a longtime resident in Ward 5, Cambridge. And ever since moving here in 2007, I've been very active in the community. Within about a year of moving to Cambridge, I began a chair role on an advisory committee. So I got to work really closely with council and city staff and the community to find out what was most important to them. So through that experience, I've realized that the place where I can really make a real difference is at the municipal level. And I feel that through that experience, plus my life experience and some of my career experience I've had as well, working in the social service sector, I can bring all that together and be a really good voice on council for residents. I'm a good communicator. I love to listen. I love to hear different perspectives. And I want to bring that with me to council and represent Ward 5 in the best way possible.
So the only reason I'm running for the council is that there's some issues related to my ward. My ward needs a new and committed leadership and who has the ability to think out of the box solutions and has courage to represent all of the residents living in the Cambridge. I am running in the municipal election because of my strong belief that the city council must reflect the diversity of the city and also represent the ideas, aspiration, and the stories of our diverse communities. I believe that a community or society can only achieve the sustainable growth through an inclusive approach which includes the new ideas, community well-being, and solution of everyone issues which the city council has been lacking in the past. I want to be the voice of change for my fellow Ward 5 residents and people of the Cambridge as well.
So I am running for council because I grew up in West Galt. I have always lived in Ward 5 since I was 4 years old, and now I am raising my 3 kids also in Ward 5. I think that Cambridge has the potential to be a really dynamic city, but we are currently lacking some of the things that are going to make it more dynamic and successful for future generations, like urban design guidelines for our downtown core and for all along Hespeler Road. And I think if we put those things in place, we're going to have an amazing city for the future.
I'm running because we need a change at City Hall, and Cambridge residents and taxpayers just feel like there's not enough leadership. And I'm offering not only leadership, but resilient leadership, things like property taxes that are too high and decisions being made in closed door meetings. And that's got to change. And that starts with giving West Galt Ward 5 voters a choice, someone that will stand up for them and stand on principle and say the things that others will be intimidated to say. And I've always stood on principle and backed up my words and my promises. And that's why I'm running for West Galt Ward 5.
So there's a couple of issues which are seen and observed by me from last 7-8 years. These are affordable housing, community safety, accountability, which includes the financial accountability, community development, infrastructures, and the lack of diversity in the council. When I'm looking at the broad scale, issues such as affordable housing, community safety, accountability, and lack of diversity in the council are the main issues. These issues have multiple impact on social well-being and the individual as well as community life pattern. These issues need urgent attention by all stakeholders. We need more accountability in terms of finance, tax collection and expenditure, resource allocation, infrastructure development, and job opportunities for everyone. These are the issues need urgent attention for long time. So it is time to change. So that's why vote 9 for change.
The key issue I see in Ward 5 is the revitalization of downtown and development. And currently, downtown Galt has been designated by the province as an urban growth center, and we don't have good urban design guidelines in place yet. This is something that other cities have had in place for many, many years, some even decades, and we don't have that done. So what I want to see is I want to see good urban design guidelines put in place, because we are going to be developed. We're going to see a lot more development over the next 10 years. And if we have guidelines in place, then we can keep the charm and we can keep the things that most make us Galt. And I think that's really important, because that's where everyone in Ward 5, they go for their entertainment, they go there to play, and some of us even work.
Well, there's a couple of key issues that apply to Ward 5 West Galt and all of the wards, actually. Property tax rates are being hiked every year. 2 years ago in 2020, we saw the highest property tax hike in Cambridge for any municipality in Waterloo Region. And then in an election year, they raised it even more at 4.24%. We also have issues with safety and security, and specifically for Ward 5 West Galt, traffic and traffic congestion is becoming an increasing problem. I will be the voice that stands up to Waterloo Region and tells them to accelerate infrastructure proposals to alleviate traffic congestion in Ward 5 for West Galt residents.
So the key issue that I've been hearing most often from residents when I'm going around door knocking and meeting up with people is traffic safety and the volume of traffic that we have. So with all the new developments that are happening, which are really excited and needed, we need more densification as opposed to urban sprawl. We do need to be mindful of the number of cars that are going to be coming in with all those new residents. Unfortunately, we don't have enough jobs just in our downtown core for folks to be able to walk or cycle to work. So I would love to see all the large trucks out of our downtown core, and that means get them onto the bypass. That's going to mean working with regional council, because the main roads that they are on are regional roads. So using some of my relationship building skills and working with regional council to find a good compromise to get the big trucks at a downtown core is really going to free up some of that traffic issues.
So I think that the city needs to come up with good urban design guidelines for all 3 core areas, as well as Hespeler Road. I think we need to look at intensification. We need to start building, particularly along Hespeler Road, building buildings that have lower level office and business spaces and condos on top. This is very common in other areas of the province, and with the LRT going right down Hespeler Road, it makes more sense to have some intensification there, as well as it's going to happen near the cores, which will support the businesses in our downtown areas.
Well, the first strategy that has to be taken by the city is they need to stand up to the province and the federal government, because intensification happens more and more by policies that are set in place by the Prime Minister and the Premier that drive more and more people into Cambridge and Waterloo Region as a place to live. And then the city has to back it up by keeping the cost of living and affordability as low as possible. And things like rising property tax rates don't make it any easier for people to live, work, and play and raise their families in Cambridge and in West Galt. And we need city councillors and a city council that will stand up to the Premier and the Prime Minister and say, you might have centralized plans to intensify our region, but if you're going to put those plans in place, you've got to back it up, because the city can't afford to solve all of the provincial government and the federal government's problems.
I think that the city needs to be doing some really good planning around the development that's happening. We have some really exciting things happening, especially in our downtown core with the Gaslight District and the new buildings that are going up beside the Cambridge Mill. I think that they're being done in a mindful way where it's keeping the tone of the neighborhood in mind, with the Heritage District and things like that. So I think that things are being done in a good way, but we do need to be a little bit more upstream in terms of our thinking around some of the infrastructure planning. So we need to make sure that we have the roads, that we have the supports, that we have the services in place for the number of folks that are going to be coming into our city.
So the only thing which the city needs is the strong and accountable leadership. If we have the accountable and strong leadership, so the housing is the main key point in our whole scenario that has impact on every life, every life and every community members. So it will. The leadership has opportunities and solutions, which based on scenarios and out of box.
Well, our expectations have always been, I'm against the CTS, and my wife, Belinda Carhalios, the former MPP for the riding of Cambridge, made that very clear. And we don't stand alone on this issue. The majority of Cambridge residents and West Galt residents are against a drug injection site on Main Street. And it's just a couple blocks away from West Galt. And it's not going to make the problem any better. It's not going to solve the drug addiction and opioid crisis that we have in Cambridge and other cities. A very, very small percentage of people use the existing sites that exist in Waterloo Region and the rest of the province. And we have to not give up on people. We have to give them treatment options. We have to tell them that there is hope. You can recover from your addictions and the issues that you're facing with. And that's what I'm going to stand up for, solutions to get to the heart of the problem and not giving up on people.
So my expectations regarding the CTS is that they are just one piece of a very diverse number of services and supports that we have to offer folks that are dealing with drug use issues. So it's not going to be the final thing that's going to solve the problem. It's really step one. It's going to be a place where folks who are using drugs can go there, as a harm reduction method to stay alive, so that they can be connected to the appropriate services that will hopefully, for those of them that want to stop using, get off of drugs. So it's really just step one in this very, complicated issue. But I think that it's a place where trust can be built between those using drugs and those that have the resources and the different services and things to offer, that they will be able to eventually make those connections. So that is sort of my mind, is that we have to have those wraparound services to make the connections. It's not the final solution.
Yes.
I think I have the opinion that it should work here too, but it will work more perfectly and more accurately if we have the diverse voices and if we have the open debate for these issues. And then it will be more accountability, more accuracy, and more transparency in everything.
So I think that the CTSs are really good. They've been very successful in both Kitchener and in Guelph. However, I don't really think that downtown Galt is the right location for it. I know that for many years, the regional services are out of that building, and the region has actually distributed needles and just hasn't been collecting them. However, I think that we really need to relocate it a bit further out of the core. I think there might be some better options for buildings, but I do think that Cambridge does need a CTS because I do think it will be very beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. So homelessness is a major issue. In my day job, I work with folks that are on very low income who are applying to, say, Waterloo housing. And when I help them with their applications and then have to tell them, it's going to be 8 to 10 to 12 years, depending on the type of unit they're waiting for, that's incredibly discouraging. And I don't think that is anything that somebody should be hearing. So we definitely need more affordable housing in our community. When you're looking at rent for a one bedroom at $1,500 to $1,800 a month, that is outrageous. So we need to work with developers to find ways to incorporate more affordable housing, whether it be in developments or alongside of new developments. there's other creative ways that we can work with the region, with upper levels of government to increase our affordable housing inventory. And that is something that I am passionate about and I'm looking forward to tackling.
The homelessness issue is also is the byproduct of affordability housing. If we have the affordable housing, so we can handle the situation. So we have to make a plan with the open debate with the city, and the people of the Cambridge, and the all stakeholders, including the provincial and the federal government. So we also have to make a collaboration with the academia, with the universities or research groups, so that we have to build such a plan that it can we can produce and manufacture a material which is locally produced, which is cheap and environmental friendly, and so that we can build a new housing communities which is cheap and affordable for everyone. And we also have to think about the lower the taxes for everyone, so that everybody can, especially the first time buyer, they can have the housing opportunities.
I think that we need to kind of look to what other cities are doing. Kitchener has some tiny houses that are located on an industrial site that has been going really well. So that might be something that Cambridge could look into as well. Downtown Guelph has actually recently hired a social worker that's going around and talking to homeless people, trying to set them up with social services so that they can get the help they need, whether it's homelessness, mental health, they can help them. And so I think that we kind of need to look to what other cities are doing and what other cities are really successful in and see if we can replicate it, because we definitely have an issue and that's something that we really need to tackle.
Well, I don't know why it's conflicting, because local residents and local taxpayers are the ones that decisions should be made for. They're the ones that elect city councillors, and they're supposed to represent their voice. The administration of the bridges, while well-intended, has not turned out to alleviate the problem. In fact, we have more homelessness, and homelessness is getting worse by rising property taxes and making and unaffordability when it comes to finding a place to live and a place to call home. We also have to identify and realize that many people that are homeless are suffering from other mental health issues, and we have to get to the source of the matter and their issues. But whatever the solution is, we can't say it conflicts with residents or taxpayers or put their wishes secondary in nature. Safety and security is the primary concern of elected officials when they're representing their residents, and that's what I'm going to focus on as City Councillor for Ward 5 in West Galt.
So I'm running for council because I think we have a lack of leadership at all levels of government, from the Prime Minister to the Premier to the Mayor, right down to the City Council levels. And as someone who served in the military, grew up in Cambridge, lives in my ward, I think if working people can go to work every day and make products and make the economy move, they can also take care of the government.
I'm running for council because I've been a two-term councillor now, and it's been really my honor and privilege to work with the residents of Ward 6, and I really like that to continue for another 4 years. I think I've got the experience. I know I have the knowledge and commitment to be a good councillor, so I'm really hoping for the public will think I've done a good job and will support me on Monday, October 24th.
So I'm running for council because really I'm a lifelong resident of Cambridge. I live in Ward 6 with my family, and I really love our community, and I really want to make a difference in our community. And really, I think I have a good experience. I'm a project manager. I've worked as a project manager for two of Cambridge's major companies. I'm currently a trustee for the Waterloo Catholic District School Board for the last 8 years. I've been the chair of the board. So I really think I have a good mix of experience in both business experience as well as municipal politics. And really, it's an opportunity to give back to the community, provide a new perspective, and also some new experiences around the council table?
Okay. That's a great question. Hi, my name is Adam Cooper. I'm running for Cambridge City Council. Why am I running? Basically because I feel that we're in need of a council that actually really understands exactly what their purpose is, why they have that role, and that is to genuinely represent the best interests of the city, the people of Cambridge and the businesses. I feel that over the last few years, the people of Cambridge have told me they're disillusioned. They have frustration towards the existing council that has not listened to them effectively, that hasn't represented their interests. They've repeatedly dismissed their legitimate concerns. A lot of times to forward their own personal agendas. I feel what we need to do is return to a residents-first culture of council, where we basically understand that we don't represent developers, we don't represent partisan politics, we don't represent special interest groups. We represent the residents and businesses of the city, and that's what I've been doing for 5 years, and I intend to keep doing it.
Hi, my name is Ian Campbell. I am a candidate for Ward 6 City Councillor in Cambridge, Ontario. I am running for City Council because I would like City Council to be transparent and make some decisive actions, as the city is going to have significant growth in the coming months and years with the new housing development that is happening out in the southeast end. We have to deal with the homelessness. We have traffic issues. The ION train is been delayed until 2032. And we need to have good transportation infrastructure. So I have some operational experience, 25 years in operations, and I have also been a long-time resident in the ward for 58 years. And I want to bring that experience and knowledge to the City Council to make effective decisions.
I think the key issue in my ward, I think there's two. Is that okay if I go with two? Okay, the one issue is traffic in neighborhoods. We need to. One of the greatest amounts of calls I get is for residents that are concerned with speeding in their neighborhoods. So I'd really like us to examine speed limits in residential areas and school zones for sure, because speeding is a real problem. And the other major topic in my ward would be growth and development. I know Cambridge is growing and it's going to grow. That's just the reality, but we have to ensure it grows so it's compatible with the neighborhood and the residents can feel that they're still part of the neighborhood and it's still working well for them.
Well, thanks very much. So the one thing, as I've been door knocking through my ward, is one thing that really comes to the top of mind of most people is certainly homelessness in Cambridge. And I think it's obviously getting to be a more serious issue than it already has become since COVID. And really people would like to see council and really all of Waterloo Region to look at how we can better serve the homelessness. And really what I find encouraging is often when I'm knocking on doors, people are really compassionate about solving the problem. So really, I think as leaders in the community, we really have to look at all levels of government support and really to get to the root cause of the issue to try to figure out how we get people into homes or into transition to homes, and really that they do have a roof over their head and just the dignity of having somewhere to stay every night, because I think it really is becoming a more serious issue.
Okay, another great question. The key issues in our ward. Yeah, I'll try to be quick. I mean, there's many. Obviously, many people are concerned with the drug issues that we have. We have so many the drug issues that have an extremely horrible human and social cost. We're having too many deaths in our city. We're having a death rate that's going up 50% year over year. We have the social costs where we have many people, especially seniors, that just don't feel safe walking on our downtown cores anymore. We need appropriate measures to handle those issues, and especially ones that don't sacrifice the rights and safety of the local community and businesses. We also obviously have homelessness issues that we see due to financial homelessness, and also ones that overlap into the drug crisis. We have the affordable housing issue. We also have what I believe is sometimes the predatory development development issues, where we have people that are not development issues that are not looking after listening to the residents and their concerns, and looking after our natural resources and heritage areas. They need to be protected. So those are just the main issues. There are many more, but I intend to tackle them with the support of the people.
In talking to the local citizens, as I've been going door to door campaigning over the past weeks, the number one concern that people have is twofold. One, the homelessness that's in the area, and also the bottlenecks of transportation. So those two concerns are the number two issues in the ward. I believe that for the homelessness, we need to have a concrete plan to help them give a hand up, not a handout. And for transportation, we need an effective transportation plan so that the citizens can move around the city without having large traffic backups. Examples of the traffic backups would be the extension of Main coming from Elgin up to Franklin, and also from Franklin Boulevard on Dundas. The two roundabouts, there's constant delays, and we need a more effective transportation plan.
So the major issue in Cambridge and in our ward is obviously housing. So we need to tackle the housing problem. We need to do everything we can at the local level. So I want to pass motions that go after things such as Airbnb. I want to relook at our building code to make sure that it's easier for people to put in apartments in their own places. But realistically, we need to get the federal and provincial governments to give us the money to deal with this housing problem.
Well, I think we're right on the cusp where we've already seen the amount of growth or amount of new housing that will be coming to the city of Cambridge. But I think we have to also keep in mind that we have to have housing that is going to suit a whole variety of people that live within our city. I don't think we can strictly focus on condominiums or one-bedroom condominiums. I think we have to look at where people are or what people will need across their whole lifespan and living in Cambridge. So I think the development has to be both responsible and planned in order to suit a whole host of the needs of the citizens of Cambridge and people that will eventually move to Cambridge and want to raise their family and grow old in Cambridge. So I think we just have to make sure that it's suitable for all, that we don't get lost in a one size because it won't fit all.
If we're referring to affordable housing, which is one of the issues that we have right now, unfortunately. If we want to talk about basically having some kind of the funding of social housing, unfortunately, Ontario is unique amongst the provinces in that the burden of social funding falls down onto the municipality. So what we need to do is advocate for the federal and provincial governments to take more of that weight. But as far as being a municipality, what we can do is utilize our important role of setting the zoning and approval policies to aid in the forwarding of this development, and also we have the unique role of being in a position to facilitate the delivery of this funding from wherever we can get it from, because we know where it is needed, and we can always also forward a lot of this funding to the necessary actors that are active in those areas.
So the new housing complex that is happening out in the southeast end between Dundas Street is going to help alleviate a lot of the housing concerns. However, they can't just be all single family dwellings. They also need to have multi-use housing in the city. We need to be very clear to the citizens of Cambridge where those developments are going to be and what the zoning is. So we don't have residents such as Clover Ave who were single family development and then find out that there was a rezoning to put in multi-level housing. We need to be transparent in what we're doing, and we need to have an effective plan. I believe that I will listen to the citizens of Ward 6 and bring those concerns to council so we would be transparent and have an effective housing plan for the city as we grow.
So first off, we need to have the infrastructure planning in place first. What we're seeing is we have a ton of development, but we don't have the roads or the cycling paths or the walking areas. So we get a ton of congestion. So if we're going to build out or even up First, we need to go back down and build the infrastructure first. And we need to not be allowing developers to be getting a pass on their development fees, because then the taxpayer is just picking up the bill.
Okay. Development is going to happen, as I said earlier. Development's going to happen. That's just reality. Waterloo Region is growing. Cambridge is growing, and that's going to happen. I think what we got to do is we got to get the public's input, and we got to find out what they're satisfied with. I know we're going to grow, but we want to make it in a way that's compatible with the neighborhood, so the public will understand that we need the growth, but they'll be happy that it's not ruining their environment as it stands right now. And as for public housing, as for affordable housing, that's something that we're in real need of. It's a real dire situation in Cambridge and the region. We need to build more homes. We need affordable housing. We need to work with the region and the province to expand our affordable housing base, especially for our vulnerable population. There's a lot of homeless people and people in shelters that really need accommodation. So we really need to buckle down and to try to accommodate all these residents and for people looking for affordable housing.
Well, the CTS, it's a very volatile issue in Cambridge, which I've been involved in for many years. Because what I want to see is I like to see more abstinence-based solutions to the problems that we have. Because what I like to do is look at the big picture and look at do we have effective solutions. Unfortunately, what we're seeing, as I said earlier, is we have a overdose death rate that is just not acceptable, and it's increasing year over year by 50%. And unfortunately, I see what a lot of people are telling me is we're seeing what they believe to be a lot of enabling, unfortunately, and maintenance of a problem that is killing a lot of people that are suffering with addiction in the first place. So what I believe we really need to have, and all sides of this argument agree with this, is we need to advocate to federal and provincial governments for massive funding of more on-demand, in-house rehab and detox facilities with temporary transitional housing, so that these people suffering with addiction and their families have a genuine path to hope and sobriety.
So the CTS site that is going to be happening in Cambridge is needed to help those individuals. As I mentioned earlier, that they're not looking for a handout, they're looking for a handout, a helping hand. But we also need to have an end game. This isn't something that should just be a ongoing program for those individuals. We need to provide them with other services that will help them with any other issues that they have, whether that be counseling or social needs, to help them end their addiction and contribute to society in a fashion that I believe that they would want to do.
CTS is basically a form of healthcare. And anytime healthcare is delayed, it's healthcare denied. So anytime that we delay the CTS or even safe supply, what we're doing is forcing people to choose between life and death. And any city councillor, any politician at any level has blood on their hands if they do that. We do have a charter right to life, liberty, and security of person.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. I think we spent a long time, a lot of debate and a lot of research on this topic. And I think, as noted, Kitchener and Guelph have been very successful. And one thing when we went out to the public, we wanted to ask the experts, and the experts are the social workers in the field and the outreach workers. And they told us very surely that the best place for it would be in the downtown core, because that's where most of the crisis is with the opioid crisis, and that's where they need the support. So I think we've decided on 150 Main, and I think that's a really good location, and I'm glad that Aqua's going to look forward to opening up. It's going to save lives, and I think it'll make our downtown safer and cleaner.
Well, first of all, I'm really pleased to see that the City of Cambridge will actually have a CTS. I mean, as a trustee, we had the opportunity to visit the site in Kitchener, because it is close to one of our adult learning centers. So I was really impressed by the the setup in the city of Kitchener one. Got to talk to staff. So really, I think it's going to be a benefit to the people, or to those that it's going to serve in the city of Cambridge. I mean, I know the location has been controversial, but I think it makes sense, because it does have all those wraparound services that the region provides. So really, I think it's going to be certainly address those vulnerable people that need that service, and really that we also start to address those issues, and then also get those people those services.
I believe it's time that the city took some decisive action as it relates to the homeless. This decisive action needs to include the region, the province, and the federal government. It is not about just giving shelter. It is about also giving them a place with proper washrooms and toilet facilities and showers. And in conjunction to that same area, we need to have social services there to help them. Again, it's not about a handout, it's about a hand up. So social services such as, do they need medical care? Do they need dental care? Do they need help writing a resume? Do they need counseling services? Do they need job interviews, training? How can we help the homeless not only have shelter, but the services they need to get back on their feet and be the citizen that they want to be? That's the Cambridge that I know, and I am looking forward to representing Ward 6 on October 24th in City Council for all of these concerns.
So as an elected official, you have a responsibility to act on behalf of all your constituents, including the unhoused. By going back to the federal government, going back to the provincial government, and working with the regional governments to get more housing stock, expanding of shelters, this is going to allow these people to not have to live in parks, not be actually on the street, and then that will take away any of that antagonism that they have with the general public.
Yeah, I know that's been a real concern for some of the publics in some neighborhoods. There's been encampments, and the homelessness is a real issue. And I think what we need to do is we need to try to address the problem. We need to lobby the region and the provincial government to establish and build more houses, especially affordable housing. And we have to give developers incentives to include affordable housing in their new developments and new builds. That's really important. I think would be really beneficial to get as many people, homeless people, off the streets as possible, get them into shelters if need be, or even better, get them into some sort of affordable housing would be the best solution to that issue.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I know there's certainly people on both sides of the homelessness issue. There's, obviously people view them as just move them along or do something with them. But I think we have to have a strategy really of moving people to more permanent housing. And some of it may just be temporary housing that we could perhaps reach out to businesses or other people in our community that would perhaps have land that they would be willing to for the city to use, either for short-term camps or, I mean, certainly the Better Tent City. I mean, that's certainly an example of something that's been successful. So I would like to see us looking at that model or something similar to that. But I think, having a plan, and then also there's a number of organizations that are building affordable housing. So again, how do we partner with those organizations to bring more affordable housing to Cambridge so that we do move people from homelessness into permanent or more sustainable housing?
Well, the issue that I see with homelessness is too often we don't acknowledge what the main causes are of this homelessness. There's a lot of times it's blamed on the housing crisis and affordability, and we do have a housing crisis. Obviously, housing prices are sky high right now. But what we have to do is separate the homelessness that's caused by financial issues and homelessness that's caused by drug addiction, by substance abuse. And from what we hear from the frontline workers, I mean, the majority of what we see, what is visible in Cambridge, is the latter. It's because of substance abuse. And I mean, this overlaps into the previous question. We need to have much more injection of funding from all levels of government and to really target this, the addiction that is the problem here. It's the fox in the henhouse that we have to handle. It's going to be difficult to house people, to get people into jobs without targeting the addiction itself and getting people onto a genuine path to abstinence. And with that, then we can get them housed, and we've got something to work with.
Hi, my name is Scott Hamilton, and I'm running for re-election to be your Ward 7 City Councillor. Now, this might seem like a bit of deja vu for a lot of you out there, because I was only recently elected in a by-election in October of 2020. But in the short time I've been on council, I've listened to you, I've worked hard, I've never missed a council meeting, and I've passed forward-thinking motions that have benefited our city, like fighting for the safety of our children on Myers Road, fighting crises of homelessness and the lack of available housing by passing motions looking at tiny homes for Cambridge, and helping seniors and those of us with special needs shovel away winter snow. These and other initiatives and accomplishments can be found on my website at scotthamiltoncambridge.ca. But the reason I'm really running is because I love this city. I love Ward 7 and I love Cambridge. It's where my wife and I call home. It's where we want to raise our 2 young children, our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old. And I'm proud to do whatever within my power and ability to make this a better place, both now and into the future. So on October 24th, I'm asking for your vote to re-elect Scott Hamilton as your Ward 7 City Councillor. I've had the honor and the pleasure to door knock almost all of Ward 7 since my election in October 2020. And what I find with Ward 7 is that there's a variety of different peoples, different concerns, such as if you go to the north of Ward 7, you might hear about speeding and dangerous driving on Avenue Road. You might hear about concerns over how developments will affect established areas and green spaces. You'll hear in the south of the ward about school safety on busy roads. You'll hear about industrial noise. You might hear about regional issues, regional roads concerning the McQueen-Shaver Boulevard, Franklin Road, and Dundas. So those are all concerns that I want to tackle as your city councillor to work with other levels of government and you as residents. And there are larger concerns in Ward 7 that we can work on as well. I've heard about homelessness. I've heard of concerns over our lack of housing, the drugs that we see in our streets, and cleaning up our city cores. And I'm eager to work with my fellow councillors, to work with the region and any level of government necessary to ensure that our future in Ward 7 in Cambridge is a bright one, a prosperous one, and one that we're excited to be involved in together. There's no question that housing, especially in Waterloo Region and places like Cambridge, has become a crisis. It's an endemic problem for all walks of life. So what can we do about it? Because we frequently hear, well, housing is another level of government. It's the region or the province. And that's true. The first thing we can do is work with other levels of government, like the region and the province, to ensure that whatever housing is coming into our city, it's appropriate. It fits the scale and the space of Cambridge. So what I would like to do as your city councillor is to ensure that we measure twice and we cut once. If we have, for example, the need for intensifying the core, we might have higher buildings. If we're building outwards in more residential areas, that's a space for looking at the missing middle houses that are lower and offer better spaces for families and other forms of housing that fit that neighborhood and that area. But the key is we look at the need for housing, we look at creative solutions like tiny homes or container houses, but we make sure that whatever is put in fits the neighborhood, fits the environment, and fits the future that we as Cambridge residents and Ward 7 residents want to see and to build together. There's no question that a CTS site, a consumption and treatment services site, has been a thorny issue for Cambridge. And honestly, I wasn't quite sure what to think about it. There was a lot of heat, a lot of anger generated online. And so what did I do? I spoke to experts in the field. I spoke with frontline workers, with police, with paramedics, with firefighters, doctors, representatives of the hospital, the food bank, Lang's, the House of Friendship. Across the board, every single person I spoke with that has experience in the fields of drug addiction or treating opioid crises said the same thing. A CTS site is not a magic bullet, but it will help heal some of the wounds we're seeing in the city. It will help clean up needle debris on the streets. It will help reduce the burden on police, paramedics, and hospitals that won't have to treat as many crises. And it will give hope back to people suffering from these crises that they have a place to go where they will feel human, they have options to seek help and to seek treatment. And it will help all of us in Cambridge build a cleaner core, a cleaner community, and a more caring and compassionate environment where those of us that need help know they can get it, and we as residents know that we're doing everything we can to help them. And that's my expectation for a CTS site in Cambridge. Knocking on a lot of doors around Ward 7, the issue of homelessness and the appearance of our cores came up as a consistent issue and concern. We all want a safe place to walk and to let our children play. So how do we solve such a wide-ranging crisis as homelessness, which seems to be gripping the country, the region, and now Cambridge? The first thing to do is to work with other levels of government, like the region and the province, to ensure that agencies that can help people find homes when they need them can get that help and access them. The second is to boost our affordable housing supply, as I believe another question has referred to. The third is to look at creative solutions to creating those roofs over someone's head if they need them, whether it be container homes or the motion I passed in council looking at tiny homes. We need creative new options so that if someone wants a home, a place of privacy, a place where they can turn their lives around, that it's provided for them. A lot of talk over affordable housing believes that it might be something negative for a neighborhood. But the more that people have a roof over their head, the more they're given hope, the more it benefits all of us in the entire community. And we need to come together to work for more housing, more affordable housing, and more immediate action from all levels of government today.
Well, I love Cambridge. I love Cambridge very much and the residents. I want to be able to help the residents succeed. And I've been able to start a number of initiatives that I would like to continue doing. The work is not done yet. There's going to be several large decisions coming up in terms about the future of the city, what it's going to look like. And I believe that we need somebody with an experienced planning background at the table to be able to have growth enhance the character of the city, not ruin it. And, there's a number of issues that residents continue to raise that I'm currently working on, such as our traffic calming review citywide. I'd like to be able to implement more traffic calming in the ward.
As I'm a small business restaurant owner in the city of Cambridge from last 10 years, and we are facing, as a small business owner, we are facing COVID pandemic, and the challenges is hard for us. Right, and because of that reason, and the second thing is like the same side, like a opioid crisis and homelessness and affordable crisis right now they are facing is a major problem, not in just my Ward 8, but the city of Cambridge, across Canada and the global. And that's because of the main reason I am advocating and I'm standing and step up for the city councillor for Ward 8.
I'm running for council because I want a youth voice on council. I also want an underrepresented segment of our population to feel like they have a voice on council. I'm running because I want to build a better future and help foster a better future for a future generation of people in Cambridge. We need to work together to foster a better, inclusive city.
Yes, so my first key issue is like the affordable home. And the homeless home crisis is the major problem after the COVID pandemic. The second thing is overdose. Overdose is not immune from many years, right? So I have to advocating, and people are dying every other corner with the overdose things, right? So that's the second thing. And the third thing is the homelessness. Because of after the COVID-19 pandemics, everyone facing getting the layoffs and shutdowns and everything, and people get no jobs and everything, and is forcefully is being to live on the roads. So that's the main problem as well too. So I want to three advocating with the homeless affordable home, then the homeless opioid crisis, and the homelessness.
The big thing I want to tackle in my ward right now is the homelessness crisis we are facing in Cambridge. Homelessness is becoming an increasing issue in our ward and in our city as a whole. It is believed, according to the Cambridge Housing Corporation, over 150 people in our city are facing homelessness each night. I want to tackle homelessness. I want to tackle the affordable housing crisis we are facing in our ward and in our city. We need to tackle it together. We need to be able to have more affordable housing units in Cambridge. We need to have housing available to all people in our ward.
One of the key issues in my ward is traffic calming. We've already started a lot of it with the review across the city. And there are some specific measures I would like to implement in the ward, such as consideration given to speed bumps and other traffic calming measures such as the bollard. So I'm hearing a lot from residents who have concerns over the speeding, and I'd like to be able to address that. And safety is also becoming more of an issue, so I'd like to have better police enforcement as well, so that residents can feel more safe in the neighborhood. And I would also like to get more recreational amenities in the ward as well. And I believe we have an opportunity with that, with more development charges coming in, that a lot of that money could be earmarked towards the ward to help pay for those improvements.
Okay, so what the city needs to do for sure is making sure that we are creating affordable housing units. We don't need to be creating luxury condos and things like that. We need to focus on affordable housing, what's needed for the younger generation and those who are most vulnerable in our population. Affordable housing is something we need. In Hespeler Road, for example, the affordable housing units they've put in there, they've put in about 75 single bedroom units, I believe, and 75 two bedroom units. So that's 150 affordable housing units we have. We need to focus on creating more of that for residents of Cambridge. Young people especially are facing this. We are struggling to find jobs that can afford the rent. Some rents can go as high as $1,800 a month for a single bedroom apartment in our region. We need to have the city focusing on creating single bedroom affordable housing units for people in our ward and our city.
I believe it's a great strategy to make better use of land and to revitalize neighborhoods across the city and to support our downtown cores. But I also believe we need to respect the character of the neighborhood, and that development needs to take that into consideration. And it's less controversial when it blends in with the neighborhood. And I believe Cambridge has a unique character, and I don't want to see that ruined. I want to enhance our character, to have policies in place to protect the cultural and heritage elements of the city while making room for progress. And I believe it could be a win-win, that we could use growth to encourage the revitalization of our cores and to make better use of our riverfronts in terms of having more restaurants and things like that. And that we could also use growth as an opportunity to basically go back and look at areas of the city that need improvement.
Okay, so recently the Prime Minister's visit in Kitchener, and they announced the 1.2 billion for the affordable home, and they are promising like 17,000 home in our region. That's a great things. What my Ward 8 is to set up the best example, 75 Angle Rock and the 50 Mullans is the best two sets for the affordable home, like low income houses, and they are like inclusive and equality with the diversity. Everybody live together for more than 10 years. So I would suggest, like for the new proposed sites, so for example, like the old Saginaw Golf Course would be the best setup for the affordable home. So that particular money money for the region, I would like to invest for this purpose and this cause. And because of the density populations in my Ward 8, I would encourage to going that way. So that's my main focus on that way.
Well, I did vote against it because I didn't feel it was right for the core. I continue to hear concerns from the business community downtown. I sit on the Downtown Cambridge BIA. So I want to work with the BIA and other residents in that area to ensure a smooth transition. I would prefer that we find another location in the city, or that we can look at alternate measures such as better social services to help people overcome addictions and things like that. But those are some of the things I'll be working on, to ensure at least that it's done smoothly if it's going to go there. And if we could find a better site, that would be my preference.
I'm telling you the short story. Like 17 December 2019, one of the person, he came to my restaurant and he is life-threatening. Think about that. That time I was making the large pepperoni pizza, jump into the CPR and save his life. So with the grace of God, I get an opportunity to save one person's life. So the overdose crisis, as I told you before, is a serious concern. And right now, in our regions, every corner, people are dying. So we have to think about that peoples and being human. My strongly suggestion with definitely is beside the hospitals, but right now is need emergency. So I would suggest and recommendation 150 Main Street as and consider as an emergency and the people we save for our loved one.
So for the safe consumption site, I believe that it is a Band-Aid solution to a long-term problem. Affordable housing, again, is the number one issue we have in our city, in our province, and in our country. We need to focus on affordable housing for people accessing the safe consumption site and all residents in our ward. I believe the safe consumption site, again, is a stopgap measure, and it won't address the long-term problem, which is affordable housing.
I will tell you one thing, no one born homeless. Because of the circumstances, and right now the best example for the COVID pandemic, people are jumping to the forcefully to, they left the homes and everything, and they are facing this crisis right now. And what the homelessness is this right now, with the problem is, for example, like I am in the Ward 8. So suppose one person in Ward 8, and they need the basic necessity, like the food, clothes, and shelters. If he want a food in Ward 8, and we have in Cambridge only the food bank at the downtown, how he accessible from the Ward 8 to the food bank? So we need the more focus on that way. We need to more encouraging to get it done. He is like, sometimes is not accessible. Sometimes is not like in walkable, right? So that times we have to take care and we have to provide something. So that's the main my concerns in homelessness.
So what the city and the residents of Cambridge need to do is we need to work together to find a happy median for this problem. Homelessness is a big issue in our city, and I do understand the concerns of people who might have to live near what might become temporary residences for our homeless residents in the city. We need to work together as a community to foster better relations. We need to find better properties and better places to house people who are facing homelessness in our region. For example, using vacant properties in the city might be a happy median to house over 150 residents facing homelessness in our region or in our city.
I believe one thing we can do is to try to create more affordable housing. We've already got more policies in Cambridge for that, but I believe that we need to expand our policies, and we also need to ask the region to match that as well. And it also comes along, like other ideas would be to have better social programs as well that we can work with the region on, and just to create a great economy. You know, our economy is one of the best in Ontario, and I believe if we create more jobs and more retraining and things like that, that there could be opportunities to help people there.